Hi there, it's Nicole for Essentials by Ellen, and today I have a monkey business card showcasing the new Ware accessory stamp set, and I've paired it with the Sock Monkey Surprise. I absolutely love all these little accessories. They go with so many of the past critter stamps from the Essentials by Ellen collection, and just go with everything. Lots of great little accessories to create all kinds of different cards. I love stamp sets like this. I love how the Essentials by Ellen collection kind of expands on what they've previously released, creating, additional images to work with things you already have. I'm going to start by stamping the sock monkey from Sock Monkey Surprise, and then the balloons, the bunny, and I think that's, the party hat, pardon me, from the Ware stamp set on some smooth white cardstock. I just have some scrap pieces of Nina Solar White cardstock here. And then I'm going to color in these with Copic markers. And for the balloons, I really wanted to go with kind of a rainbow type of theme. This is kind of a peachy pink red type balloon. I really worked to get the color kind of what I wanted it to look. It's really not very red. I would call it kind of a peachy pink. I really like these colors together, but I'm keeping the majority of the darker color along the right side of the balloon and then lightening it near where that little highlight is already on the balloon. I'm going to do an orange balloon now. And I definitely kept to the lighter end of the spectrum for each of the color combinations that I'm using. And I'm going to keep the coloring very similar all the way through all 5 balloons. Darker on the right side, lighter on the left up near the highlight. You can definitely go back in, add a little bit darker color or definition if you need to. If you get a little too dark, just blend it out a little bit more. All the colors of Copic markers that I'm using here today are shown across the bottom of the screen for easy reference. This is my yellow balloon, started with really, really light yellow Y0000 and then Y11 and Y08. That lightest color is not really my favorite, but it really works with this because you want that lighter area. I'm going to go with my greens now, and to keep that green really light and kind of fresh, I'm going with yellow greens, yellow green 01, 06, and 23. Darker along that edge and then really blend it out. You can see that that's really dark, so my mid-tone color is really going to have to work to blend that dark into my lightest color. You want to be careful not to oversaturate the paper too much so that any of those lighter colors, any of them that have quite a bit of colorless blender in them, you don't want them to bleed outside of your stamped line. And finally, aqua. I always like to have an aqua color there, my favorite color. So lay down my lightest color, my darkest color, blend it out with my mid-tone, just like the others. The balloons really kind of were the focal point, maybe is what I want to say, for the whole card. I knew I wanted to have the monkey holding on to a bunch of balloons, and I knew I wanted them to be kind of bright and fresh colored, and so that's really where I started with all of this. Now, some of my colors did bleed into that highlight, so I'm taking a colorless blender and just kind of pushing that color back out into the colorful part of the balloon. My party hat is going to follow the colors of the balloon exactly. There are 5 stripes to the party hat and there are 5 balloons. So I'm simply using the same color combinations that I used for the balloons for each stripe on the party hat. Kind of continue that theme. Also gives me a cute little rainbow colored party hat. So much fun. I absolutely love this image. Once that's colored in, I'm going to move on to my sock monkey. I'm using one of my favorite color combinations, E40, 43, and 44 to color him in, with a little R00 for his cheeks on the lighter part of his face. The lighter areas of the monkey are going to be E40, then his base color basically for the rest of his body is going to be E43. And then my darkest color is going to be E44, and that's what I'm going to use for some shading and things like that. So here I'm going to pull in that color, the dark color. This is actually my second card that I've created with this sock monkey. That's how much I love the stamp set. I think it is so super cute and fun. I can see using this in all kinds of different ways. My card I shared over on the classroom blog yesterday at ellenhutson.com featured a get well card using this same sock monkey, but he's holding on to the umbrella from this Ware stamp set. So just lots of ways to create really fun cards. I just think this monkey is adorable. I am using E40 and 43 for the light areas then. That E43 is going to be my kind of shadowing or shading. And then E44 is my shadowing and shading for the darker areas of the monkey. So just with 3 markers, you can really get some great results. Now I felt like E44 blended out a little too much, so I am going back in, adding in that dark color a little bit more because it blended out too much with my E43. And then I can definitely get a little bit better. I'll just blend it out just a tiny bit this time. That's going to keep the color a lot more how I want it to look. And then I did one of my favorite techniques, which is adding some little dots with the tip of my brush tip of my markers, a little R14 for the inside of his mouth. But this is going to add some really great detail to the monkey with these little teeny tiny dots using E44 in the darkest areas. Then I'll even add a few with E43. I overfilled my E43 marker a little bit so you can see it kind of, I'm trying to be really careful with it. I tried to get as much of that out as possible, but I did overfill it with the refill. Now over the balloons, I'm going to use the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker to give them a little bit of sparkle. Then I need to color in my bunny, and I'm going to keep him really light as well. With so much color within the balloons and party hat and what's going to be the background of my card, the sock monkey and the bunny are going to be pretty neutral. So I've got browns for the monkey, and then the bunny is going to be in shades of gray, warm gray, 00, 1, and 2, a little R20 again for the cheeks. But very light, but just that tiny addition of those warm grays gives it a little touch of color so it doesn't look stark white. I'm going to cut apart the coordinating Ware and Sock Monkey Surprise dies using some metal snips scissors. Tape them in place over the images with a little post-it tape so that I can die cut as many of the shapes with one pass of the machine as possible. I will have to die cut that balloon 5 times total, but I try to get as many die cut images through one pass of the machine just to make it speed up the process just a little bit. So once I have all of my images taped in place, I will run those through my Big Shot. And then I can start working on building the rest of the design of the card and start working on the background. Black glaze pen on the eyes so I can let that dry just a little bit. And I'm adding some Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen to the remaining balloons that I did not do before I die cut them. I generally like to do any of this embellishing after I die cut the images. Once I have the black has dried in the eyes, I will add highlights with a white glaze pen. Now, unfortunately, I was zoomed in too close, so it's really hard to see, but I do have a 4" by 5 1/4" rectangle of watercolor cardstock, and I am applying 3 shades of Distress ink to them. Again, I apologize that this was out of the window screen. While I was working on it, I didn't notice it until I got all the way done. I am using a combination of cracked pistachio, twisted citron, and dried marigold distress inks, blending them together. Each kind of has about a third of the card space, spritzing it with water from a distress sprayer, and then blotting it dry with a paper towel. This is going to give me a great distress background. Here you can see that background a little bit better. Just going to buff that dry real good, make sure that there's no ink that is wet. I'm going to kind of lay out my shapes now, make sure I like how everything is looking before I go ahead and commit to finishing the rest of my card. I did die cut some clouds from smooth white cardstock and vellum using the silver linings dies. This is also new. I'm going to ink up one of the greetings from the Sock Monkey Surprise stamp set using black Lawn Fawn ink. This is black licorice ink. I love it. I think it's a nice bold black ink. And so the front of the card is going to read, "Oh, what fun." I'm also taking my scissors and snipping really carefully along the Sock Monkey's hands so that it gives a little bit more of the illusion that he's holding on to the bunny with his hand here. So you can see I'm just going to tuck that under there. I've used a little glue dot to secure that. Then the other hand, I've kind of used a craft knife to cut a little notch there. I think I'm going to have to take my scissors and cut all the way through it because I'm going to add some really delicate gold thin thread so that I can onto each of the balloons, and so I'll have a little bunch of them to put through his hand. I'm going to go ahead and attach some of the clouds to the background now. And I'm also attaching those gold strings or threads to the back of each of my balloons. The easiest way to do that, I think, is I'm putting a mini glue dot there right along the bottom edge of the balloon, laying my thread through that, and that's going to secure it. Then I'll just finish adding a little additional adhesive. I'm going to leave all of those balloon strings free for just a minute. Then I can kind of try to put them through his hand. And I really did have to work a little bit to get that just the way I wanted, but got that secured, used a glue dot on the back side of his hand to hold those. The rest of the way, I'm going to leave them a little bit free. I did put a little dab of glossy accents underneath his hand to hold that nice and flat so it looks like he's holding those in his fist. Finish with a couple more balloons, trim off the excess around all of the edges, anything that's overhanging. Got my fun little sky scene there. Non-traditional colors in the sky, which I always think is fun. I am going to stamp an additional greeting on the inside of the card. Again, this is from the Sock Monkey Surprise stamp set that's going to read "Happy, Happy Birthday." I love being able to finish off the inside of my card just like the front. I think it makes it so much pretty, so much prettier. Go ahead and put some nice strong adhesive on the back of my watercolor panel now and attach that right to a top fold card base. And then I'm going to finish my card design here with a little of the Stardust glitter pen on the little pom-pom on the hat. Then use some Ranger Multi-Medium to attach some pretty pink posh gold mini star confetti all over the card. It's a nice little flat embellishment, teeny tiny, but it adds so much to a design. I love it for a sky scene like this. Thanks for joining me today for the Essentials by Ellen Ware stamps and dies, as well as the Sock Monkey Surprise stamps and dies. The supplies I've used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing Essentials by Ellen stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.